I have the pleasure of introducing Art Bodin. Art represents our Housing Committee. Art, could you tell us what the Housing Committee does?
Well, the purpose of the Housing Committee is basically to advise the Board of Selectmen on solutions addressing the town's affordable housing shortage. And we coordinate with the Housing Authority and other housing entities in the development of affordable housing initiatives for the town.
Great. And can you tell us when you meet, where you meet, and what time you meet?
Okay. Presently, we meet once a month, and it's usually the first Monday of each month. We meet at the Town Hall Library at 4:30 in the afternoon, but we're looking to probably start at a different time because that's becoming kind of challenging for a few of the members.
Okay.
But that will be posted in the future.
And do you have any vacancies on the committee now?
Luckily, no, we don't. We have a full committee, 5 members, and they're all very active and very involved. I'm basically the only one that's retired, so it doesn't make any difference when the meeting is. The rest of the members are all gainfully employed and work regular jobs.
So we have as a board, we have the opportunity to appoint 2 alternates, which would be, again, as mentioned before, training for potential new members. Chris?
So what would be helpful experience for someone who is interested in applying for your committee?
Well, I think the most helpful experience is to be an advocate of housing.
Okay.
Understand that we have a problem and want to be part of the solution. And of course, like myself, my background primarily is with Habitat.
Okay.
I'm in construction. I've been a family partner. And you don't have to have direct involvement in housing. We just want to do something about housing and be a good advocate.
Wonderful. And what is it about the 10% goal that I hear when it comes to housing? Does that affect your group?
Well, the 10% goal, that's pretty much a state, I don't want to say a mandate, because it's been approved by basically all the towns to achieve a 10% affordable housing goal, which is 10% of the year-round housing stock.
Okay.
It does not include the seasonal housing stock that we have. And that's basically a minimum. And most towns are working very hard to achieve it. Harwich has done a number of things. We're current with our housing production plan, which was approved 2 years ago. And just currently, this past year, they formulated a affordable housing trust, which is now going to be the entity that's going to take the challenge and change and take the ideas and programs and put them all together and actually start building affordable housing.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Yep.
It's great that you mentioned the Housing Trust, and it is overwhelmingly been supported by the town meeting, Board of Selectmen, committees, but it does allow the vehicle, as Art said, it allows us to work on housing year-round rather than just having to work at it at annual town meeting. Just before this meeting, we met with Real Estate and Open Space, but it's been great to watch Real Estate and Open Space, our Housing Committee, the Town Administrator, the Board of Selectmen, and all of the town meetings support our housing goal. The 10% is not necessarily a mandate, but it is what the state wants. And I'm proud to say Harwich is high on the list already of what we've already accomplished. But out of all the Cape towns, I think we're in the top 3 or 4. In the high 5s, I believe. I think we're 5, 7, 5, 8. But we're obviously we're committed to housing, affordable housing for our workforce, for our seniors, but keeping it going. And I will say Art joined the committee and kind of hit the ground running. He has been a strong advocate for housing. He's done a great job with the committee. I would say attending the meetings, he's very welcoming to people in the community that want to be part of the committee and to participate during public comment. But the vehicle here really is to get more people involved. Voter Information has agreed to do this, and we want to get people, new faces, new blood, people involved in housing. So
Right.
we can support 2 alternate positions, and then who knows what happens in June. There may be a full position, but thank you, Art.
Okay.
Very good. Yep, keep going, I'm sorry.
Okay, I can keep on going. I just put together, there's a lot being said about affordable housing, and we're kind of in the affordable housing season as we approach the annual town meeting. There's going to be a lot on the town meeting about it. But anyways, I put together a little something here, just make a few comments about affordable housing. You hear this term all the time, affordable housing. Well, what the heck is this all about? Well, affordable housing basically is a person's ability to pay for housing. It's very simple. It kind of boils down to like, well, some people drive around in Mercedes and other people drive around in Hyundais. It's what you can afford. So taking this, breaking this down into the basics, getting down to the what is actually the dollars and cents of it. We look at a person's monthly income and what they can afford. Now, for low-income people, it's pretty much stated that you can't really afford more than 30% of your gross take-home pay. And above that, you become what they call housing burden. In other words, you're spending too much on housing and not enough on the other things that kind of give you the quality of life. And sometimes the quality of life is just, groceries and buying clothing for your children and so on and so forth. And going further, how do we come up to this figure? Well, on Cape Cod, this figure is derived by using 80% of the Barnstable County's median income figure. So Barnstable County comes up with a figure of what the median income is for the county, and we take 80% of that figure, and we extrapolate that out, and that determines what you can afford. Now, for a single person, that number currently is about $47,600 a year. To go a little further, the example that I like to use quite frequently is for a typical family of 4, if there is such a typical thing, that figure jumps up to $68,000 a year. And now at 30%, that boils down to approximately $1,700 a month for housing that the family of 4 could reasonably afford. Now keep in mind, as I pointed out by definition, if you go above that 30%, of course a lot of people do, to get housing, you fall into that category of now you're becoming burdened. Now you take this figure to the next step. Let's take it to the marketplace. In the marketplace, the rule of thumb by most financial institutions, and these are the people that are going to be providing funding for mortgages, they're going to write the mortgages. They use the figure 2.5 times your gross income should be the value of the house. So therefore, a person with a median income of $68,000 a year could afford a house selling for $168,750.
So that doesn't exist.
I'm glad you pointed that out to me, because I've been looking for one of those.
Yeah.
And I think even some of the old timers couldn't tell you the last time they saw a house on anywhere in Cape Cod that you could actually live in for $168,000. But now here comes the but. In Harwich, the median price right now for a single family home is between $350,000 to $400,000. So when you say there's a need, there's more than a need. If you're in that category of your income is at $68,000, you're not in the housing market.
Right.
And then I jokingly say, that's when you make the telephone call and you say, hello, Mom and Dad, can you help me?
Great.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Art, thank you, and thank you for the important work you guys are doing.
Thank you very much, Art.
Great.
Good to meet you.